Your mind never sleeps. Your mind is never truly silent, not even when you sleep. Beneath the still rhythm of your breath, beneath the stillness of your body drifting into rest, there's a deeper current at work. A quiet but powerful stream where memories, beliefs, and emotions continue to flow, shaping not just your dreams, but your waking life. Most people think of sleep as simple physical recovery. The body rests, the brain shuts off, and the world fades away. But that's not what really happens. Because while your conscious mind sleeps, your subconscious mind awakens. It listens, it learns, it rewires. In the stillness of sleep, the very patterns that shape your emotions, your reactions, and your identity are being rewritten. And this is where your untapped power lives, a space where healing can begin, where change becomes not just possible, but natural. But here's the problem. Most of us go to bed carrying the weight of the day, unprocessed stress, lingering negativity, unspoken fears, the echo of harsh words. And without realizing it, we feed all of that into the night, letting it sink deeper into our minds with every breath. So we wake up carrying the very pain we hope to escape. The same anxiety, the same fatigue, the same self-doubt. The cycle quietly repeats itself. But it doesn't have to. Sleep is a spiritual discipline. The Stoics believed that discipline wasn't just for the daylight hours. It lives in every choice, every ritual, including how we prepare for sleep. Because the moments before sleep and the hours during it are among the most fertile grounds for transformation. As your conscious defenses lower, your subconscious becomes open, receptive. The thoughts you carry into sleep, the emotions you linger on, the stories you replay, these are the seeds planted in the soil of your deepest self. And they take root. So what if you use this time to heal? To let go of old narratives, to reprogram the beliefs that keep you small? You can. And it begins with awareness. Your brain is always listening. Even after you drift off, your brain remains awake in ways most people never imagine. Not in conscious thought, but in subtle awareness. Your subconscious continues scanning, interpreting, reorganizing, shaping the framework of your inner world. What it absorbs is determined by what you give it. If you fall asleep ruminating on stress, doom scrolling through fear, or clinging to past wounds, your subconscious will store that. It will hardwire more anxiety into your nervous system. It will shape your biology to anticipate more of the same. But if you give it calm through breath, gratitude, peaceful words, or simple intention, you're planting something entirely different. And the mind, in its resting state, becomes fertile ground. Neuroscience confirms this. During sleep, especially deep sleep, your brain enters heightened plasticity. It becomes more malleable, more capable of change. But that change depends on what you feed it. The Stoic way of sleep. The Stoics didn't know neuroscience, but they knew this truth intuitively. Marcus Aurelius would reflect and journal at night, not to record, but to realign. To prepare his mind for rest with clarity, virtue, and calm. He knew that the tone he carried into sleep shaped the condition of his soul. And it's still true today. Your brain is always listening to your thoughts, to your emotions, to the story you tell yourself in the final hour of your day. This isn't about perfection, it's about intention. So ask yourself, what are you feeding your mind before sleep? What stories are you reinforcing? What emotional tone are you soaking in? Because your mind will be working all night whether you guide it or not. The only question is, will it be working for your healing or hardwiring your pain? Your last thoughts shape your night. The final thoughts before sleep are not trivial. They are imprints, subtle instructions whispered to the subconscious. They set the emotional tone for the night, and often for the day that follows. Yet most people treat these moments carelessly. They let their minds wander into chaos, scrolling endlessly, replaying arguments, worrying about tomorrow. And without knowing it, they carry that noise into sleep, embedding tension into the very foundation of their rest. But the Stoics knew better. They understood that the mind becomes impressionable as it slips away from the grip of conscious awareness. In those final minutes before sleep, your brain shifts from fast, active beta waves into slower, deeper rhythms, alpha and theta. It's here the barrier between the conscious and subconscious begins to dissolve. What you think about in this space goes deeper. It bypasses the mind's filters. It becomes a kind of programming, mental seeds planted in rich, fertile soil. So if your last thoughts are anxious, you prime your nervous system for unrest. If they're grounded in gratitude, you calm the body and open the mind for healing. If they're empowering, you begin to rewire limiting beliefs even while unconscious. Think of your final thoughts like setting the direction of a compass. Once sleep begins, your mind drifts, but the direction has already been chosen. Negative patterns are rehearsed. Positive ones are reinforced, and it all happens beneath the surface. Marcus Aurelius understood this. He would end his nights reflecting not on failure, but on virtue, courage, patience, clarity. Why? Because he knew that what he impressed on the mind before rest would rise stronger with the dawn. He wasn't trying to control his dreams. He was aligning the current. Modern psychology confirms what the Stoics intuited: bedtime affirmations, visualizations, and even a few words of gratitude can improve sleep quality, reduce stress, and elevate mood upon waking. Because the mind and body are not separate, they are a single system constantly shaping each other in feedback. And sleep is one of the most powerful places to influence that loop. But more than anything, this practice gives you back your agency. Instead of being a passive passenger in your mind, you become a guide. You choose the tone of your inner world. You choose how your nervous system will restore itself, and slowly, night after night. This builds self-trust, the deep knowing that even in rest, you are healing, you are growing, you are shaping who you will become. So ask yourself, what are you feeding your mind before sleep? Worry or wisdom, gratitude or regret? Because the quality of your rest and the energy you wake up with begin with that quiet, deliberate choice. So tonight, before you close your eyes, pause, breathe. Set an intention. Speak a truth you want to carry through the night, because your final thoughts are never forgotten. They shape the very ground your healing walks upon. Words are biology. We tend to think of words as abstract, just sound, language, air that vanishes the moment it's spoken. But that's an illusion. Words are not neutral. They carry weight. They transmit emotion, energy, and they create biological responses. What you say to yourself in thought, in whispers, in the echo of your inner dialogue affects far more than just your mood. It influences your nervous system, your hormones, your immune function. Put simply, words become chemistry. Your body is always listening. Each thought sends signals. Words of fear, shame, or judgment activate stress responses. Cortisol rises, inflammation builds, your heart rate variability drops, and your sleep quality suffers. Over time, this doesn't just live in the mind, it erodes the body. Stress becomes illness. Emotion becomes exhaustion. But when your words shift, when they carry calm, compassion, or hope, everything changes. The nervous system softens. The body exits defense mode and enters repair. Hormones balance, tissue restores, healing begins. This isn't spiritual metaphor, this is science. Every thought leaves a biochemical trace, and your words are the trigger. Why night is sacred. And all of this becomes especially important at night because sleep is when the body repairs itself most deeply. During rest, your brain clears waste, hormones rebalance, immune cells regenerate. But if you go to bed repeating, "I'm failing, nothing will ever change, I'm not enough," you're feeding your body stress signals telling it not to heal, but to guard itself. Many people unknowingly sabotage their restoration. They fall asleep to a TV blaring violence, to doom scrolling, to replayed arguments and silent criticism. The subconscious doesn't filter. It simply absorbs, and what it absorbs, it builds from. That's why disciplined language matters. The Stoics knew this centuries ago. Epictetus taught that it is not the things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. And what are opinions, if not thoughts repeated so often they harden into belief? Change the words, the belief changes. Change the belief, the biology changes. The chemistry of language, modern science echoes ancient wisdom. Psychoneuroimmunology, the study of how thoughts influence the immune system, shows that repeated positive affirmations boost immune response, lower inflammation, and improve sleep. Why? Because the body responds to language. So when you say before bed, "I am safe," I release what no longer serves me. I trust the process of healing. You're not just being poetic. You're sending chemical instructions. You're telling your cells it's time to restore. These aren't slogans. They're switches, and they turn on the body's deepest healing mechanisms. So treat your bedtime thoughts like medicine. Choose them intentionally. Speak gently. Speak with clarity. Speak with presence. Speak with illuminated. Repetition rewires the mind. Transformation isn't built in one moment of insight, it's built through repetition. Your brain is wired for change. Yes, but that change happens through consistent experience. The more you repeat a thought, phrase, or mental image, the more the brain prioritizes it. Neural circuits strengthen, habits form, beliefs harden. What was once effort becomes automatic. But here's what most forget. This doesn't stop when you fall asleep. In fact, sleep enhances it. During slow wave and REM sleep, the brain reviews and consolidates the day's patterns. What you rehearsed most, especially in the hour before sleep, gets amplified. So if you feed your mind with new affirmations, peaceful imagery, or self-directed kindness, that becomes the material your subconscious uses to rebuild you. The Stoic way to rewire. Marcus Aurelius didn't journal to document his life. He wrote to rehearse values, courage, clarity, discipline until they were etched not just in mind but in being. Modern neuroscience confirms affirmations, visualization, CBT. All of it works not because it's magical, but because repetition plus emotion plus intention rewires the brain. And when you repeat those things just before sleep, the subconscious is more open. Your critical mind softens. New patterns can bypass resistance and begin to take root. But this process only works when repetition is conscious. Mindless repetition won't rewire anything. You must feel the words. Visualize the outcome. Engage your whole being, not just your voice. Over time, the change becomes internal. You no longer try to believe it, you simply do. The groove is carved. The default is set. The rewiring is complete. You become what you rehearse. So tonight and every night, ask yourself, what do I want my mind to believe? What patterns am I programming? What story am I feeding into my body? You are not just falling asleep. You are shaping yourself. You are building the chemistry of tomorrow. And if you guide that process with intention, night after night, you don't just rewire your thoughts. You begin to transform your life. Remove negativity before sleep. Carrying negativity into sleep is like trying to heal while still drinking poison. You may close your eyes, but your mind does not forget. What you carry with you, unprocessed anger, regret, guilt, fear, does not dissolve simply because you lie down. It travels with you into the night, shaping your dreams, tightening your nervous system, and interfering with the very restoration your body needs. The Stoics understood this well. They taught that we cannot always control what happens around us, but we can absolutely control what we carry within us. And this wisdom matters most at night. Because sleep is not just rest, it's your body's deepest window for healing. But when you fall asleep tangled in negative emotion, you disrupt that process. You invite turbulence when you need stillness. Science confirms what philosophy knew. Modern neuroscience agrees. Your emotional state before sleep directly impacts the quality of your rest. High cortisol, the stress hormone, impairs deep sleep, fragments REM cycles, and leaves you waking up tired, anxious, or unrested. Think of sleep as a reset for your nervous system. But if you press the reset button while still flooded with stress, the system can't fully reset. Even after 8 hours in bed, you wake up feeling heavy, not because you didn't sleep, but because of what you carried into that sleep. That's why removing negativity before sleep isn't a luxury. It's a discipline, a kind of emotional hygiene. Just like washing your body at night, your mind must be cleansed too. 4 practices for emotional cleansing. You don't need hours, just presence and intention. 1. Reflection. Pause and honestly ask, what am I holding right now? What emotions feel unresolved? What am I afraid of, angry about, or regretting? Don't suppress, simply notice. Awareness is the first step to release. 2. Forgiveness. Forgive yourself. Forgive others, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Carrying resentment into sleep only chains you to pain. Releasing it frees your energy for healing. 3. Gratitude. Shift your focus to what went well, even the smallest thing. Gratitude triggers the parasympathetic nervous system, your body's rest and restore mode. It signals to the brain it is safe to let go. 4. Intention. Say to yourself, I release what no longer serves me. I allow my body and mind to heal. This conscious inner statement tells your subconscious that it's time to let go. Ancient wisdom, modern need. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself often, life is short. Carrying anger into the night is to waste what little time we have. Seneca believed in the discipline of mental hygiene. Just as you wash away the dirt of the day, you must wash away envy, fear, and bitterness. Because here's the truth. The mind you go to sleep with is the mind you wake up with. If you fall asleep filled with tension, you reinforce it. If you release it, you create space for peace, for clarity, for deep healing that sleep alone can't provide. So tonight, before you close your eyes, pause, reflect, forgive, release. Whisper to your inner world, I let go. I choose peace. And as you drift into sleep, know this. What you let go of now, you no longer have to carry into tomorrow. Surround your sleep with positivity. Your body is always listening, even to your environment. It constantly scans for subtle signals of safety or threat, not consciously but primally. And when the space around you is chaotic, cluttered, or emotionally charged, your nervous system doesn't fully relax even when your eyes are closed. The result, rest becomes shallow, recovery incomplete, Your mind stays busy, processing unfinished tension. But when your environment whispers calm, when the air is orderly, soothing, intentional, your parasympathetic nervous system, the one responsible for rest, digestion, and healing, takes the lead. Only then does true restoration begin physically, mentally, and even subconsciously. Simplicity is power. The Stoics knew this well. Seneca wrote often about the importance of simplicity, not just as an aesthetic, but as a spiritual discipline. Clutter, noise, disarray. These aren't minor distractions. They send signals to the mind. There's still work to do. You're not safe to let go. So how do you reclaim your space as a sanctuary? 5 practices to surround sleep with positivity. 1. Declutter with intention. A cluttered bedroom equals a cluttered mind. Your brain sees disorder as unfinished business, which raises mental load. Clear it out. Simplify. Let the room say, "Here, we rest." 2. Curate your sensory landscape. Light, sound, scent, they all matter. Dim the lights as evening approaches to cue melatonin production. Replace jarring sounds with calming ones, gentle music, nature sounds, or silence. Choose sensory inputs that whisper, "It's time to soften." 3. Infuse the space with emotional safety. Use intentional symbols, a calming scent, a meaningful object, a peaceful quote by the bed. Not to decorate, but to seed the subconscious with calm and alignment. 4. Be mindful of energetic residue. Don't let your last hour of the day be filled with news feeds, stress, or conflict. Your body remembers. The room holds that energy. Replace negative rituals with sacred ones: reading, meditation, breathwork, journaling. 5. Cultivate relational harmony. If you share your space, the emotional tone between you matters. Arguments before sleep don't just end the day poorly, they leave residue that fragments rest. Practice emotional closure, reconciliation, kindness. The science confirms it. Modern research echoes ancient wisdom. Your physical environment, light, noise, temperature, clutter, profoundly impacts sleep quality. But there's more. Your emotional environment. The tone of your inner and outer space is often the most powerful factor of all. So ask yourself, does this space support my deepest rest? Does it invite calm or echo chaos? Does it reflect the kind of mind and body I want to wake up in tomorrow? But this is not decor, it's self-respect. Small shifts made with care lead to deep transformation. Because when you surround your sleep with positivity, you aren't just designing a bedroom, you are shaping your nervous system, or you are planting peace into the soil of your subconscious. You are giving yourself the gift of clarity, healing, and true presence. And in a world that constantly demands more, this is a quiet act of stoic strength. Sleep is not a break from growth, it is a vital part of it. Think of what truly happens when you sleep well. Your brain clears out waste built up during the day. Through the glymphatic system, a detox process only activated during deep sleep. Memories are sorted, important ones reinforced, irrelevant ones discarded. Emotions are processed, and your subconscious integrates what you've experienced, leaving you with greater clarity and emotional resilience when you wake. Your body heals too. Hormones rebalance. Growth hormone is released to repair tissue and support cell regeneration. Your immune system strengthens. Blood pressure stabilizes. Your entire being is recalibrated. You don't just rest, you reset. But here's the key. This renewal isn't guaranteed. It depends on how you enter sleep. If you collapse into bed carrying unresolved stress, overstimulation, or emotional tension, The body may be still, but the mind is restless. Sleep becomes fragmented. The reset is incomplete. You wake up not refreshed, but still tangled in yesterday's energy. The Stoics wouldn't have dismissed this. They saw preparation for anything as essential. Sleep is no exception. It requires intention, not just in your external environment, but in your internal state. So how do you begin treating sleep as the sacred reset it truly is first? By giving it the respect it deserves. Too often we sacrifice sleep for work, entertainment, or distraction. But that short-term gain comes at a long-term cost. When you honor sleep, you're investing in your future clarity, balance, and strength. Second, create a transition. Just as a machine doesn't go from full power to shut down instantly, neither should your nervous system. Let your body ease into stillness, dim the lights, engage in calming rituals like meditation, deep breathing, or simply setting a gentle intention. I release the day. I allow myself to restore. Third, align with nature. Stick to a regular sleep schedule. Reduce artificial light before bed, and give yourself enough time to complete full cycles. When your rhythm matches the Earth's, your reset runs deeper. Fourth, examine what you're carrying emotionally. Unreleased stress, anxiety, or regret can sabotage your sleep. Clear the mental clutter through reflection, forgiveness, or gratitude. Your system can only renew if you give it space to breathe. And finally, trust. You don't need to control sleep. You need only create the conditions for it, then surrender. That's where transformation begins. Because no matter what the day held, sleep gives you the chance to start again, to restore not just your body, but yourself. The person you sleep as is the person you wake. As this isn't just a poetic idea, it's a psychological and biological truth. Who you are in those final moments before sleep, your thoughts, your emotions, your energy shape who you become the next day. Sleep doesn't erase, it imprints. Most people treat sleep passively, as something the body just does. But in truth, it's a mirror. It reflects and amplifies who you are becoming. The Stoics would understand this intimately. For them, character was cultivated not only through action but also through thought and inner discipline. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that virtue must be practiced even in silence, even in the most private corners of the mind. And what is sleep if not the most private space we enter? Your subconscious remains active while you sleep. It processes, rehearses, and solidifies whatever state you fall asleep in. If you drift off in fear, resentment, or shame, those patterns deepen. You wake up carrying the emotional weight you never let go of. But if you fall asleep in gratitude, clarity, or peaceful intention that becomes your foundation, you don't just sleep well, you evolve well. That's why your nighttime rituals matter, not just for better sleep, but for inner change. Here's how to intentionally shape that process. Reflect, ask yourself, who was I today? What did I learn? What do I want to carry forward? This helps you integrate growth and let go of what doesn't serve. Clear your energy through forgiveness, breathwork, or gratitude. Release the day. Don't bring yesterday's burdens into tomorrow's potential. Prime your mind. Engage in a short, intentional practice, affirmations, visualization, or prayer to gently guide your subconscious where you want it to go. Surrender. You don't have to force change. You just need to allow space for it. Create the right conditions. Then trust that sleep will do its sacred work. Remember, the person you sleep as is the person you wake as. The night is not empty. It is fertile. What you plant in it determines what you harvest at dawn. So choose what you will carry across that bridge of sleep. Choose who you will become in stillness, in silence, in surrender. And when you do, night after night, you don't just sleep, you transform. Let the day end. Let the healing begin.